Yeah, the Jackie O thing is a big selling point for this movie.
Absolutely. Onassis, baby.
The Jackie O is very big selling point for this film.
Oh, I should have made some Slurpee tea.
Ew. For what?
What the fuck does that mean?
We're talking about the
Slurpee?
queen. We're talking about royalty. You want some tea?
Sported tea and some crumpets.
So what the fuck is Slurpee tea?
Yeah, what's Slurpee tea?
It's when it's so hot that you can't really drink it, so you have to go really slowly
Shut up.
and take micro sips.
I think that's why I hate tea. Because usually when I drink it, it's just too hot, and by the time it like cools off, it just tastes like garbage.
What?
Same.
You don't know how to make tea. This is the problem.
I am
What do you mean
not.
you don't know how to make
you
tea?
pour
Tea,
hot water on a
it's
bag.
yeah.
It's pretty self-explanatory.
No.
And you dip the thing a couple times, a couple things.
Well, you can
Use
also
a spoon to kinda mix it up?
If the water's too hot or not the right temperature, you could burn it.
Well, no. See, I like to cook
you-
my tea 175 on the.
Also,
percolator.
you're not supposed to really do like when you do the bag and you directly the cup, like that's fine. But you're supposed to make it like you're supposed to heat the water in the kettle. And you're supposed to put it in the teapot, and then like the
Okay.
teapot has more than one serving, and then you do a couple bags of tea. So the tea to water ratio is different, and you're supposed
Look,
to
man,
put.
I just take a mug full of water.
Put the bag in.
I throw that sucker in the microwave for about 2 minutes.
throw the bag in it.
Throw the bag
2
in
minutes
it.
is too hot.
Throw the bag in it. If it's too hot, let it cool off for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I'll come back.
15 minutes.
I'm just saying, like sometimes I like to put the honey in it to try to sweeten it up, but
you
then
gotta have the honey in
but
it.
then
Honey.
sometimes it just sinks to the bottom. It's
You
garbage.
gotta have the honey. You mix it up with the spoon.
That's why you give me
do
coffee.
sugar. You do a small bit of sugar, and then you want your scones with your jam,
Let me
some cream.
tell me about your scones. Do you like your scones dry or do you like them like kind of soft?
Is this one of those? Is
No, it's not.
It sounds like you're doing that Mean Girls joke where it's like, do you want someone to butter your muffin?
No, do you like scones to be a little bit like crunchy and dry or like soft and moist?
Either one. I actually kind of like them dry.
Cool.
I know nothing about scones.
Then we're on the same page. Larry David
Yeah.
opened up a Spite coffee shop in Curb Your
Right.
Enthusiasm because the other guy's scones were too soft. So he's like,
Yeah.
"This is a muffin." It's like, "Nah."
No, yeah. There's a place particularly. No, I don't want to try. I won't say what the place is called.
No,
but there was
throw
a
'em under
place.
the
There
bus.
was a place.
Throw them under the bus.
Fuck that place.
But there was a place in Madison when we lived at 17 Waverly.
The Rose City.
I like to go like, oh, it's across this. A place nearby where we lived.
Madison Bagel?
No, I'm not gonna say. So we went. I would go there because I'm like, this is like a cute little walk. I could get a coffee and a scone. I can read a book.
Sure.
Coffee was all right. And then I was like, oh, I'll have a blueberry scone. All right, here you go. And then he gave me a scone. I'm like,
This is a muffin.
did you? Is this like a muffin that you
Yeah.
cut into a triangle?
That's a lot of places I've seen actually legitimately.
That's exactly
do
what
that.
it is. It's a muffin cut into a triangle.
I'm like, this isn't a. And it, like, because I'm not a fight. I'm not one of those people that fights at a store.
Yeah, of course. You're not going to be a Karen.
I'm not gonna be a Karen about it,
Yeah.
but I'm like, I'm eating it, just making eye contact with the counter, like, this isn't a scone. Like, this is literally muffin mix
All right.
cut
so
into a
we're-
triangle.
We're on the same page then.
Yeah.
And welcome to the show.
Here it goes.
17 Waverly Podcast.
That was a good opener.
17 Waverly Podcast. Ron Gavin Angelo. Hello, boys.
What up?
Good night or good evening.
This is episode 80. I want to say 2. I think it's 82.
Okay.
I thought it was 3.
No, last week was 81, I think.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, so last week we gave you guys an episode about cooking. It was Thanksgiving week. We are into December now, though. And before we really get into December, and we all know what we're talking about when we say December,
Right. The inevitable.
we want to give you guys a little bit of royalty.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
Okay.
Nice little segue.
Sure. The Queen's Gambit was all the rage
Yes.
the past, couple weeks.
Yes.
Real phenomenon.
Yeah. So because of that, and because we all saw it, we decided let's center this episode around royalty,
Royal things.
royal things. Yes. Also because season 4 of The Crown came out on Netflix as well. And we all, Gab and I watched that in its entirety, so we wanted to also discuss that today. And then we decided, hey, let's just add a third thing here.
Right.
And what better thing to add than a crappy movie? So we added
Excuse me?
Princess Diaries.
Here's the thing, really quick before we proceed with that. I also want to say for the record that the suggestion of the Princess Diaries was not my call.
It was not.
Because I know it was gonna, everyone listening
no,
was like
no.
going to go. The 5 people listening were like, "That was totally Gab," and I'm
Yeah.
like, "It was not. I did not say
No,
the
no,
Princess
no.
Diaries. You
Princess
bitches.
Diaries. I
Did you
suggested
nominate?
I suggested Princess Diaries
Okay.
because of the fact that it has princess in the title.
Sure.
It's a movie that I know was popular or is popular with some groups.
Yes.
Okay. Fair.
America. You
And
mean
I have never
groups
seen
as
it.
in America?
And I have never seen it. And we typically also like to include things on this pod from the early 2000s, late 90s. At least one thing. And this was from that era, so
Okay, that's fair.
why not, right? So where do you guys want to start?
Do
Do you want to get The Crown out of the way since
the
you
biggest.
and I
Yeah.
watched it, and then
That's fair.
we'll.
That's fair.
I say we end with Queen's Gambit.
Okay.
I'm
So
good with that.
all right. So let's talk about the masterpiece. That
I'll
is
let
season 4.
you really get us into The Crown because we know way more than I do, and I.
Yes, I do, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of all of my royalty knowledge. So here's the thing: Crown season 4 dropped, and they remember people curse because here comes the gas.
Yeah, there it is.
No,
And
man.
there it
So
is.
the new streak is now. If you have
Gab
that.
burping on the
We've missed
pod.
Batman a few times in the last
Yep,
few
yep.
episodes, so this is the
The
new
new
thing.
streak is Gab burping on the pod.
They
Okay.
put a hex on me. This is all intentional because I don't burp in the whole day, and it's just like when we have to record is when it happens.
Of course.
So yeah, the Crown season 4 dropped. This is the second season for the second set of cast. For people who don't know, it's going to be a 6-season series.
Right.
And 3 sets of cast where every cast rotates after 2 seasons.
Right.
So, and each season is 10 episodes, and it spans like a good 10 years or so.
Yes.
So each season covers about a decade. This season in particular, it takes us from 1979 to 1990.
Right.
And the big selling point with this one is what we've been waiting for since season 1, a little thing called Princess Diana.
Yeah. That was what got me to watch the show at all in the first place.
I didn't know that.
Because I remember all of the hysteria for Princess Diana when we were younger.
Yeah.
And I remember all the gossip and all the tabloids and all that crap. But I didn't care about anything. Like I don't. To me, the royal family means nothing to me.
Right, because we're
So,
not
yeah,
British.
I don't give a shit about any of those people.
Well, that's
so,
true. Yeah, we're not.
So when the
British.
show came out and you were like, "Oh, this is a really good show about the royal family," like, okay, I don't care. But then when I realized I should probably watch this because eventually they will give us Princess Diana after you explain what the show was about.
So this goes down like the lineage of like
It goes
the
the
royal
lineage,
family?
yeah.
Oh, okay, that's actually a brilliant idea.
But starting with
the coronation of Queen Elizabeth.
Queen Elizabeth,
Okay.
which is like the old queen that we see now.
in
Like,
the
that's
in
like
the mid,
100
it
years
starts in the
old.
mid 1940s.
Yeah.
So not just is it this evolving cast over the decades, but you're spanning culture because you're
Yeah.
going 40s,
Right.
50s, 60s,
60s,
70s, 80s,
yep.
and you're seeing it all transform
Right.
on the set and the characters.
Right.
So it's in. No, The Crown shouldn't be your history lesson, but it definitely gets you on Google.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's
All right.
a lot of things that I had no idea about. I didn't know that, for example, that the queen became the queen because her father had passed away, but he didn't want to be king. His brother advocated.
you've seen the King's Speech, right?
Yes.
So the King's Speech is about Elizabeth's dad.
Yes.
So originally, Elizabeth's father's brother, he was the oldest, so he was in line to
Yes.
be the king.
The next king, yes.
He got it. He became
Right.
king, but he fell in love with an American.
Right.
And because back in those days she was a whore, I guess,
Right.
because she'd been divorced.
Yeah, you're not allowed. You can't be a whore. You have to.
Because she was married and divorced.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And
so
so-
you're a
whore, you're a
wasn't
whore.
a literal. She wasn't a literal whore.
No, but
No,
but
yeah.
back then that's a good enough
A
to be
divorce
a whore.
means you're a whore.
She was twice divorced.
Got it.
Twice divorced.
Ooh,
So
That double whore.
so big whore.
she's a slut.
And so they were like
Big ups to Frank Reynolds for the whore.
for the whore. Also a little bit of rest in peace, Sean Connery. Mother whore.
Nice.
So he
That's what we'll call
said
back to our previous episode.
he said, "Fuck this! I don't want this job. I'm out. I don't want to be king. Someone else do it." And then I was like, "Wait! But your brother, we literally didn't prepare him his entire life for that role because it was never
Right.
going to be his responsibility. He's also already married with 2 kids. Like this is your job. We gave you a freaking." Investiture as Prince of Wales. You've been like the one who's like it's you. You're the king.
And what I noticed too is like they honestly like the people that aren't in line to be something are pretty much like zero.
dead weight.
Right.
They're just like dead weight. They're trash. So like you have 4 kids and the oldest son is going to be the king eventually.
Right.
Your other 3 kids are just like worthless.
They don't matter.
Yeah, like what's
So-
Prince Harry right now?
So we'll get.
Yeah, we'll get to
Let's
Oh,
get it.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
great.
So so he abdicated and said, "I don't want it."
So
Peace.
the current queen's uncle, who was going to
Abdicated.
be king,
Yeah. The one who
said,
says, "Do you want
I
to
can't,
fuck?"
I can't do it
Yeah.
because
I'm out. I'm
because
not doing it.
I want to marry my whore.
I want to marry my whore, and I want to live how I want to
So
live.
he chose marrying his whore over being king.
over being king.
Probably a good.
And then his brother,
Better off, honestly.
the stuttering Stanley.
Stuttering Stanley, yes.
His name isn't Stanley. It's a Sixth Sense reference.
Yes.
He's
Nice.
had to stick it in there.
Yeah, of course.
He became
I
king.
mean, no offense to people that have that.
Oh no, that's not the joke.
Yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah.
It was just a good
we have to-
scene.
we have to clean
Yes.
up the
Yes.
PR.
No, right. It was just. It
We're
was
gonna
just,
canceled, aren't we? After this episode?
No.
we're not gonna make it to 100.
It was.
Because Gav had to get it in.
That's not what I'm joking. I'm saying it was just a memorable scene by Haley Joel Osment.
Right, yeah.
Bitches.
Oh,
If
boy.
anything, I'm the nicest person on this couch. Fuck you both.
Here's a quick little heads up for you guys. Next week we'll start with Gab apologizing yet again.
I'm not apologizing. No, you're not canceling.
You're
You're not.
All right, anyway,
I've said
anyway,
nothing of
all right,
offense.
continue.
You're both rat bastards.
Continue.
Anyway, the job killed the dad.
Yes.
So Elizabeth became queen at 25 years old.
Yes.
But it wasn't. That wasn't
and she
the
didn't.
intent.
And she didn't. She literally had no idea what that. I mean, she was.
Well, when
had
her
zero
uncle
idea.
abdicated, she was a little girl. So
Right.
they immediately were like, "Well, you're going to be queen one day, so immediately we got to start training you for that role." So she was prepared for it.
Oh, okay.
Throughout her life, but she was also a woman, so her education was extremely limited.
Right.
But at the same time, you're the monarch. You're not supposed to have an opinion, so it kind of didn't matter. The monarch is essentially just the country's, what am I looking for? Mascot.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful.
That's what the
They don't
monarch
necessarily like
They
do anything.
No, they can't give
They
political
can't
opinion.
even give political. Yeah, right. They can't.
They
give political
can't get
opinions, so,
involved
like,
with anything. They can't declare sides. So the big thing is to stand there, smile, look pretty,
Right.
and then cut some ribbons, give some prizes,
Right.
and then just be this symbol of the country.
Right.
Okay.
So you can't give political opinions.
Okay. Fair.
So the show goes from her coronation and it follows it through her with her sister. Then it's evolved as the show's progressed to include her children.
Yes.
That includes Prince Charles.
Right.
And this season 4, is heavy Prince Charles because it
Yes.
includes the marriage to him and Princess Diana,
Right.
as well as the governing of the Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher.
Yes.
So it's really it was one of those things that I guess people didn't really notice how this time period was really about these 3 women.
Oh, true. Yeah.
So you got the Queen, Margaret Thatcher, and Diana.
Diana, yeah.
Those were like the 3 points of the triangle in terms of
Right.
and your selling points for this show in this season particularly.
Right. And actually didn't. I saw the trailer for the movie The Queen, and I didn't know that the movie was about the point in which Diana dies, and what the Queen has to do after that.
Right. So this is all building to that
builds up to
infamous
that
week.
point.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Right.
So this show is about
we don't
getting
see-
to that point.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Like
I
we
remember.
don't in this particular season we don't see like the death of Diana.
Okay.
We see the beginning of their relationship and how she becomes part of the family.
Okay.
And then by the end of the season, you realize and you see just how different she is from them and how she doesn't like she
was
can't
very
be a part of that.
she was very different from the
Yeah.
family. I remember that from like the news clips and all that.
Yeah, like
So-
they're constantly just berating her for not being as royal
Regal, right.
type and as them.
Now, so you're saying that this is going to lead up to Diana's death?
Yes.
Do you think they're
Yeah.
going to squeeze out another? I guess the next season maybe won't go right into that, but might go into has
you're
Charles cheated on her yet?
Yeah, that's
yeah,
the whole.
their whole relationship
Well,
is
here's
that,
the thing.
yeah.
This is the drama with the show, and I said it in our thread with Andres
Yeah.
and Ramses. I think 2 years ago, when I just finished Downton Abbey, and I like old British shit.
Yeah.
And then I was like, my veins were like needing more drugs, and I was like, but Downton Abbey's over, and that's when the trailer for the first season of The Crown dropped. So I was like, all right, my nose is coked out and ready. Like I found my fix. I was like,
I got a
yeah,
fix here.
I'm like, okay.
Y'all got any more
Yeah, like,
British stuff?
I was like literally like twitching like on the couch. Like I need some more like scones and shit, and like table etiquette. And so I love that shit. And then so the trailer came out, and I watched the first season. I was like, that was great. It was like it's clearly super invested in.
Yeah.
Like this is the
And
quality.
all the thing also is like the show, like each episode it almost feels different.
Okay.
Especially not more so in the beginning than the most recent season, but the beginning of the show, it feels like each episode is its own movie because they touch on specific things that happen in England.
Okay.
That like were big things. You know what I mean? So it's just a really cool format of how they do it.
Yeah. Okay. And so then I saw the second season. When I saw the second season, I realized this is going to be a phenomenon. Like it's not right now,
Right.
not like immediately, because by season 2 it already had its following.
Right.
But I realized because I didn't know at that time about the cast switch thing. So when season 2 ended, I was like, oh, I can't wait for season 3. And then I read, no, they're all like gone. I'm like, what do you
Right.
mean? It's like,
So they pick like a specific cast to be the characters for 2 seasons, and then when they eventually become older,
They recast.
they
recast.
recast all of them.
because we're trying to get to the modern day, and it doesn't make
Right.
sense for these young actors to live do 60
Right.
years of a
Right.
character.
And then, yeah, because then you're getting into like corny like makeup.
That doesn't
Prosthetics and
work.
stuff
It just
like
doesn't.
that,
It just
yeah.
looks like shit.
So then I was like, "You're taking us to Diana," and we all know she's a phenomenon that never really went away.
Right.
So if
Right.
the show's already doing what it's doing in season 2, I realized once we get there, this shit's gonna blow the fuck
Well,
up.
especially because they touch heavily on a lot of the dramatic things that happen between the Queen herself and her husband Prince Philip, who like also was like pretty sketchy with like extracurricular
Right.
activities.
He cheated.
So
Right, we're just making a piece of shit. All right.
yeah, so like they touch on all of those things. So by watching that, you're like, okay, so they're definitely gonna touch on Charles doing sketchy
yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
So this
and
season,
they definitely do.
okay. So this season was more like they do get into. Are they married in this season?
Yes.
They get married. They meet. They get married, and then by the end of the season,
She knows.
like it's more than she knows. It's just like they're on the brink of about to getting divorced.
Oh, wonderful. So this next season's going to be
Well, the thing.
literally a crash course, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Jesus Christ. Fuck. So the thing about season 4 is, and Pico, this is a little drama news too. The
I just
actual
watched this
like
season.
PR, the PR spokesperson for Buckingham Palace, like for the monarchy, has gone like on air to say that they're demanding that Netflix say before put in front of every episode that this is a work of fiction, that it's not true. Because season 4 makes Charles look like the biggest piece of shit on earth.
mean, he's a complete
But
scumbag.
isn't that like? I thought that was like common knowledge, though.
No, it is common
Yeah,
knowledge.
I'm pretty sure, like,
he was a piece of shit.
I mean,
Why are you protecting him? He's a
It's,
legit
but
garbage.
the thing is, like, as you watch the show, that reaction is like I don't feel like that's out of the ordinary. Like, you understand from watching, they're like, I'm surprised that they're even that it's gone this far that they let this happen without them saying something.
Okay.
Because like they don't I don't feel like they skimp out on the drama of what's wrong with these people.
They don't pull any punches.
Yeah.
It's just right out. It's
They're
like,
making
yeah.
you. They show the grandeur and the positives of the monarchy,
Right.
but they don't shy away from showing you
Yes.
what's the problem with it either.
Yes. Okay.
It does try. I don't think it necessarily advocates for either position, pro or against monarchy.
I don't think so either. I think that they do a really good job of teetering that middle line.
Yes.
Of okay, so one episode you're like, oh well, the crown really isn't that bad. Like the queen actually helps
Do that
the prime
thing.
minister to do this thing.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
like, so yes, that's good. But then there's also an episode where the crown kind of sucks and like they're hiding mentally challenged cousins of theirs because their blood isn't pure.
Oh.
Like these are the kind of things that like you're watching and you're like, okay,
I can see
It
this.
isn't trying to. But the thing with the Charles thing is, and
Charles is the first character out of the show that I'm like I legitimately don't like and I hate the guy
right.
because
That's
of everything that he's doing
That
with
he's done.
Diana.
The thing is with it too is that where they're like, oh, you have to, with them saying like you have to show that it's a work of fiction. But I'm like, all right, let's review. Did
Yeah.
he maintain a relationship with Camilla Parker Bowles even when he got married to Diana? What's
Yes.
the answer to that? Yes, that's a fact.
Right.
Okay, so that's true.
So in this scenario, Charles, he kind of like his uncle, no, his great uncle,
His great uncle, yeah.
He wanted to marry Camilla Bowles, whatever, but they obviously weren't going to let him, and she got married eventually to her own guy.
Well, all right. So this is what happened. Charles fell in love. So his uncle told him like, "You're the Prince of Wales. You're young. Fuck a lot of bitches. We'll
Yeah.
deal with you getting married later. But right
Right.
now, just pork as much titties as you can."
yeah,
Right.
you'll be the king eventually. You'll have to get married. So just
So right
Have
now,
fun now.
it's
Yeah.
it's nut on as many faces
Sure.
as you want. On all the cookies you want to. So
Sure.
yeah. I'm sorry. That's basically what he said at that
I know,
lunch
I
in
know,
season
I know.
3.
Yeah.
And then Charles is like Mr. Shy and sensitive, who has mommy issues,
Right.
Severe self-esteem issues.
Yep.
So what?
Weird.
Technical
That's strange.
difficulties. Okay.
That was
that's the Church of England's God going. What the fuck are you saying? And so you have him meeting this young woman named.
I mean, it's not that loud on here.
I am
so you
confused.
guys can just keep talking.
I know, but like I just want the audience to know that if we die,
The computer did it.
it's just that it's an old computer, so sometimes it does restart.
no,
sometimes.
I think it's the Church of England that knows that we're speaking shit about the monarchy. We're gonna get Diana. Anyway,
Jesus,
Come on, man.
actually, Angela's the one that's scared because he has to get in the car with me after this.
You just said you never got to an accent. This is really playing out into a bad way. Because this isn't right.
Ramel, is going to turn into a picture of me freezing in black and white and then going to fade.
But you're wondering how I got into this situation. Let's rewind.
no, like in heavyweights when Josh makes the jokes, and then like the next scene it's all white,
And he fades away to his empty bed.
and his
because
empty bed is there.
That's what the church is. Anyway, that's what the Holy Ghost is going to do.
Okay, so
what was I saying?
Charles,
He falls for this young lady named Camilla
Yes.
Shand, who is basically like a mommy because she's all about seeing to him and taking care of him and giving
Right.
him encouraging
which
words.
is what the
and
queen
supporting.
didn't do because
Right.
she was a very cold mother.
Yes. So it's an expression of him looking for someone to
Mommy
give him what he didn't
Yeah.
get from his own mother.
Right. Okay.
And but then what did they say? You can't marry Camilla Shand. Why? Because she's a whore.
Yeah.
Back
Because
to the whore thing.
Yeah, you're back
because
to the whore
she's
thing,
been
correct.
out and about, and you have to. And she's had boyfriends, and if you've
Yes.
had boyfriends, what have you been doing?
Correct.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Spreading the Yeah. So they're like, so it's like that's not gonna work. And so he's like, but I wanna. And then the family's like, let's fix this. So the show says they force her to marry the other boyfriend that she had because she was seeing both another guy and Charles at the time.
Yeah, she was a whore.
So they're like, that's not gonna work. And now you keep clapping cheeks, whatever you straight people say.
Sure.
Yes.
And then that's when he stumbles upon Diana Spencer.
Yes.
And why does Diana work? Because she's nobility. She's the daughter of an earl. She's 19 years old, and she hasn't
been gallivanting around.
She hasn't been. There's no rumors. Her record's clean, which is what you need for a princess. She's beautiful, so that's going to look good on the tablecloth and the posters and the commemorative plates.
Yep. And she's young enough to be able to be molded into what they need her to be.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because Charles is pushing 30 and she's 19. So the idea is he's going to be able to. It'll be easy to mold her to what he wants.
Correct.
So basically, child bride.
Yeah.
And paralegal. And she's technically in her prime health for reproducing, which she needs to do for future heirs.
Right.
So she checks all the boxes.
Yes.
What they didn't anticipate was
That
she has mental
personality.
issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
She has a lot of mental issues, and Diana has a lot of because suffers from bulimia. She had self-mutilation issues. She had her own kind of mommy daddy problems.
Right.
So what they did was they set two people up who
both have issues.
And their issue is they both have the same needs.
Yes.
They both need that reassurance. They both need someone to take care of them. They both need someone
need the desire to be liked.
To be liked and
To be
loved
popular,
and wanted
yes,
and supported
correct.
and
Yeah.
embraced. And it's like
And
when
you can't have two people like that because
It's like oil and vinegar.
right. So then if you have two people like that,
Oil
then
and
if
water.
one gets popular, then the other one will get pissed and jealous.
Exactly. A
Oh,
lot
and
of
the other way
jealousy,
around.
yeah.
And they're also not when you have two people like that in a relationship, it's very difficult for each other to be the adequate amount to give you that kind of love and affection because you're both in need of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
You can't. It's hard to give somebody something that you're looking for.
Yes.
You can't do it.
Like you know what I mean, you
I
can't do
feel
that.
like you just can't do it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. How am I going to give you what
What
I'm missing?
looking for, exactly.
Like
I don't
that-
know how, I don't know how
I
to
can't
give
give it to you.
myself.
Yeah.
How am I-
So in all, so
I can't give you $100 if you need $100 and I don't have $100.
it doesn't make sense.
It just doesn't make sense.
That's the purest way of putting it.
So it was a match made in hell.
yeah, it was just a bad mix.
It was a bad mix, and the show just goes fully into how that was a match made in hell.
Very sad.
It's
But the thing about it though is like, you know it's a train wreck. You know it doesn't work, but obviously they have to try it and they have to force it because at that point, once they realize that this really is not working, it's already too late,
yeah.
and they're already, I think, like either gonna be married or they're engaged. So, and then by that point, to break off the engagement or the wedding would be
Monumental, yeah.
fucked up for the family. So,
Diana also knew that he was cheating before they got married.
Okay.
So, and some people would like to use that
she
as
almost
like,
called off the wedding.
yes, she told her sister, she was like, I can't let this marriage go through. We can't do this. Like, he's still with that woman.
Right.
And then her sister said to her, according to Diana on a tape, she's like, you're already on the dish towels. Like, it's over. You have to do it.
Yeah.
Like, you're getting married in like a week. And like,
Yeah.
your
British people love
face
that
is
type of
on
shit, huh?
Yeah.
everything. So, like, you don't have a choice.
It's a mess,
And-
man. It was a big fucking mess.
And at the same time, there's also
The Stan Lee.
It's got to be Stan.
that
Stan
is
Lee.
that's Stan Lee.
Oh, he's beautiful.
That's
wonder what he's-
Stan Lee in the
what-
Princess Diaries too.
Never knew he was in it. Back to the story.
Wow.
If that didn't
R.I.P.,
if
man.
that just didn't just steal my heart. God bless him, man.
Where were we?
Shit, that knocked me out.
Charles.
Charles, a piece of shit.
Charles, piece of shit.
So they eventually they get married. And
They
then,
get the fairy tale wedding. They get married, but the thing is, what makes it such a problem, also, is that he's going to be the king. He can't get divorced.
Yes. That's
You're gonna be the king
Yeah.
of like. Yes, the Church of England was technically established because of Henry VIII
Right.
and his want to divorce, so technically he can fine.
Right.
But it's also like it's not a good look that the monarch
Yeah.
is getting divorced from his wife.
yeah.
So and he's been cheating on his wife and since the beginning.
Yep.
And that the country fell in love with the wife.
with Diana. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the
fully-
country. The
fully-
planet.
Yeah,
Fell
it's
in love with
very-
Princess Diana.
So they show like they even show that like her they go on this like trip, and they're in I think Australia and New Zealand and all these, and like you start to see the people realize this chick is not the same as all these
she's
uppity
like
motherfuckers.
she's an actual person.
Like she's a
got a-
legitimate cool person.
Yeah, she's got a heart.
Has a heart, like, and then she comes back. She comes to New York City, and goes to like Harlem, the
AIDS hospital.
the AIDS hospital. Like she goes to all like the broken down places that need attention,
Needs help.
and I think that was her choice, right, to do that.
So
trip?
she's the one who courted. She wanted to go to, because usually what these royals do, they'll go to a zoo, they'll go to a park, they'll go to a theater. But she's like, no, I want to like see the actual New York. So they took her to Harlem. She went to the AIDS hospital, and this is the 1980s. Late 1980s, almost 1990,
Right.
but even in that time, the stigma of AIDS and getting near or touching people with that was
It was
still.
it was almost like leprosy.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
don't, like,
correct.
touch her.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when they tell like that's what's going on, but she held all of the patient, and with the lesions and everything, like people who had
Right.
full blown AIDS.
Yeah.
She was holding their hands, giving the kids hugs, and you can see that stuff online too.
Yeah, I was gonna say like that's like some of those images
those
that I
are,
have.
yeah,
of
those
her,
are things
like
that I kind
her-
of remember
yeah,
from when we were kids.
like doing like a lot of like work with
Helping
Right.
break the
Yeah.
stigma of HIV/AIDS,
Yep.
and that was one of the biggest things that she did in the late 80s. Now, what's the thing with Diana and what the show does nicely is that it feels like even in the previous seasons, it lays the groundwork for how history repeats itself, because the uncle that abdicated,
right.
Princess Margaret, Charles, and now Diana all have something in common. This desperate desire to say their voices and to be seen, be heard, be individuals, be modern, be like they all four of them had that thing. And the Queen's biggest thing is we are not supposed to be that. We have to
Right.
be neutral, silent,
Right.
and just stand there.
Like we're not supposed to be modern. We're not supposed to be
No,
updated.
we're supposed to be eternal.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're modern, eventually
Right.
you will be outdated,
Yes,
and the
correct.
crown is the one thing that cannot go out of
Go out of
style.
style, right?
yeah.
So it has,
It
to
has
last
stay the
forever.
same, yeah.
And the only way you do that is by shutting the F up. Do you
You're
want to know
right.
who kind of follows that rule? Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Yes. They don't
They don't talk.
talk often.
No.
And when they do, it's very specific, like
Thing.
little things.
Yes.
But
And they
it's never a huge. You're
huge-
never going to see Jay-Z or Beyonce
Go on a rant.
go on rants, or like do these type of things.
No. And they're very, and they, even they're anything they express sometimes, like even just the Meghan Markle portrait,
Right.
when they were accepting an award, I think, like they're very specific about when they do something because they speak
Yes.
so little that even a little thing will speak volumes.
I mean,
Exactly.
just look at what happened with their own cheating scandal. Neither one of them said a word
No, they just dropped two
outside of the two albums that they
two
dropped.
albums, man.
they fall
That's
so
it.
they kind of take those. I even think people would say like Queen Bee, the King Queen. So like they do kind of exemplify
But
some
that's
of
how
these
you
royalty
that's
rules.
how you maintain that. That's how you maintain that popularity,
Right.
Because you're not teetering on any specific side.
You're just constant.
But
You're just
that's
constantly
how-
kind
You're
of
in your
floating
lane
there.
there.
Yeah.
That's how the Queen has done her reign. She's
Yeah.
of very few words. She doesn't.
Right.
She's not, and she just makes small gestures here and there to signify something.
Right.
When these other figures have been desperate for attention and to be figures and to be
Yep.
to be heard. Charles infamously didn't go to a dinner in the 80s. It was 70s or 80s because with Chinese government because he didn't agree with the Chinese government and what was going on with Tibet.
Right.
And I'm like, and it's like by
Like, you're not
not
supposed to
going
doing
to
that,
the
yeah.
dinner, you're taking a political
Yes,
opinion.
correct.
And it's like, and that's a problem.
Yep.
So Diana, in a lot of ways, though she wasn't political, she did march to the beat of her own drum and did things the way she wanted
definitely
to
wasn't.
do them.
She definitely wasn't. That royal mentality.
No,
that the Queen had.
it wasn't that like stereotypical
Yeah.
like.
But she was a phenomenon, and
Right.
she was bigger than the monarchy. She was.
Right.
For the time that she was alive and she was a part of that thing, she was the monarchy. There was no, like,
Right.
it was Diana 1,000,000%. I think that she contributed to her own demise? Yes,
Yeah,
she did.
definitely.
Yeah.
She absolutely did, because she made some big mistakes in the 90s. And seasons 5 and 6 will definitely explore that
Okay.
with a new actress.
Right.
That's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for that
'Cause-
because I
That interview that she did in 1996, you can see it online. That was her death sentence.
That's what everyone says, that sealed. That basically sealed the fate that
That's what killed her.
something's gonna happen.
Yes, because she goes on record, on camera, to the world saying, A, Charles is not fit to be king. My son William basically should do it.
Right.
The monarchy is full of stern, like, unfeeling, cold people.
Of course.
Something's going to happen to me.
I wonder.
That's crazy.
Dude, there's gonna be so much more that comes from that and stuff. But is there anything out there now that's like more in depth with like that period of time in her life and stuff? Because I know like there's a thing on Netflix called I think it's called like Diana in Her Own Words.
Yeah.
But, like I want like a JFK conspiracy type. Like,
yeah.
something like that on the History Channel to like breaking down from like things on the inside, being like, this is who was involved. This is what we think
Especially
happened.
because like that. I mean,
like
to die that way just seems so.
It was always a sketchy thing because they said they were in a car and the paparazzi was chasing them
in a tunnel.
and they got into an accident. But it's like,
well, so with the show will touch on this, is not the conspiracy, but the events of the night when she was in Paris. They found that in the toxicity report of the driver, the guy was above the legal driving
he was
limit.
drunk. I remember that. Did
'Cause
he die too?
I think the driver survived, actually.
That's how it always happens. Drunk driver always survives.
Yep.
Well, because they're loose.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
they don't tense up, and your bones, when you tense up in an accident, your body receives the shock harder.
Yeah. So
If
that's
you're loose, you just
Yeah, you just kind of
go,
flail and you go with the collision.
But she and her boyfriend at the time, Dodi Fayed, they died.
They both died.
And it was reported that the paparazzi, she was still alive in the back seat, but the paparazzi were still taking pictures rather than help.
Jesus.
that makes sense too.
So,
Jesus.
is what was reported. In terms of that, I would say when people say, the Queen greased the brakes, I don't think that they conspired for her death, but I do still think they are partially responsible. Here's why. In 1996, when she did that interview, she was only separated from Charles. They weren't divorced, which means she still lived in Kensington Palace.
Right.
She still had the security detail. She still had she was still kind of
all the
within
royal
All the
stuff,
bells
yeah.
and whistles
Yeah.
that go with being the first lady.
After that interview came out, which is the most scandalous interview by a royal ever,
Right.
I think, until Andrew fucking said, basically confessing he was a child rapist.
Yeah. Which is another thing I hope that they touch on.
They kind of do, because
if
they
it
do
keeps
in
going.
season 4.
Because in season 4, so he's a kid in season 4, and there's an episode where she speaks to him, and he's talking about how he's in college and he's
dating an actress.
an actress, and she's a porn star?
No, she's an actress who's doing like rated R films, or I guess,
Right.
but there's like they're very risque.
Okay.
And she's like, and the Queen asks him like, because she's basically doing like nude sex scenes and stuff in the movie or something, and she's like, is she even like a legal age to do that? And he's like, who cares?
Okay.
Yeah.
So they've planted that.
So they
seed
already planted that seed of
fantastic.
like,
And
That's
I
good. Listen, that's good writing.
No,
I
it's just great. It's
appreciate
great.
doing
It's
that
awesome.
because they don't have to defend Prince Andrew in the
Correct.
crown. The
Yeah.
guy is a child rapist.
Correct.
So
Yep.
put that shit in there because
Yes.
that's accurate.
That's
Yes.
accurate. Exactly. It seems like everything that they've done is
omitting
accurate.
that would be big because
Yes.
that is a known thing now.
Right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's his first scene in the show.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go.
Like
Yeah.
they introduced
Damn,
this
they
guy
threw that jab in there real quick.
Yeah, it's
immediately.
awesome.
It's
yeah.
awesome. They're like, make
When we
no
were,
mistake.
when we were watching it, I was like, wait. Yep.
That seems like
they're going to do it.
Seems like a very well done program. I guess I'm
It's
gonna have
good.
to jump
It's really
in.
good. If you're at all interested in any of that stuff, like with British and royalty,
Yeah, I just
and
enjoy
the crown
history, and if it's going to lead to something that I was like,
It's-
I have vividly remember from my childhood, then
yeah,
I think it's
Oh,
still
that-
interesting
great,
to watch
man.
because it's one of the 3 forms of government.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good, and even just from a television standpoint, it's just great TV.
good show.
Like there's one episode and I'll this will be my last thing on this particular subject, but my favorite episode of this season, there's a lot because there's the whole Diana thing, but this has nothing to do with Diana, is the episode where the guy snuck into the palace. Because there was a moment where some guy in whatever year it was
was in the 80s,
actually snuck into the palace
Was he just hanging out?
twice.
Twice. He found
And the
his way.
first time he got in and then like realized, wow, I can get into the
House whenever
Into
I
palace
Buck-
whenever I
Buckingham
want.
Palace, yeah.
So he left, and then the next time he came, he actually got into the queen's room, sat down next to her, and I guess like she woke up and like just started. He just was just like talking to her, and the whole episode prior to that, they showing his life and like how he's
Struggling.
He's poor as hell, and like he's in and out of. People think he's crazy, so that they keep trying to arrest him or something, and so gone through some shit. And then he gets to the queen, and he's like, "Look, I'm not here to do anything. I just I want to talk to you because, like, our people are struggling out there, and you're the highest point here." So he's just like basically complaining to her about what's going on with like the poor folk, and like there's one line where he's like, I think he says, "People think that I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. I'm just poor." And that's like a really it's just like a really impactful like scene and episode, and it's awesome. And like then the next episode they're back to Diana and Charles. So the show does that where like it gives you these things that happen historically that actually happen, and they throw them in there in these episodes, and you're like, okay, this is just really good TV.
Yeah, it's amazing. I highly recommend it.
I mean, you guys kind of won me over with it. So
Yeah, it's definitely worth. And it's just something you can just throw it on there, and like you can just chill, relax, like watch it, and it's not high like action or anything. It's just like a really good show that keeps you intrigued the whole time.
now that I know how to make a proper spot of tea.
Correct.
Thanks to Gabriel.
Correct. Yeah.
I wonder if this has any influence on why the Diana Beanie Babies are soaring in price right now.
That probably could be it. Yeah.
Because someone sent me a little screen cap on eBay, like they're going for like 2,500, 14,000.
That's how much they were back then.
Because now I'm like, well, shit. Finally, like something that was supposed to happen is happening, where I can sell these goddamn.
Well, that's
things.
usually how it is. Like people forget, like Pokemon cards. People forget about these collectible things,
this
and then eventually,
nostalgia,
when
man.
something re-sparks it, then it shoots back.
Yeah. And we'll talk about it. I got some notes too when we start talking about Queen's Gambit about the Netflix effect.
Yeah,
and what
actually,
it does.
we'll
Wait, I do want to finish that thought really quick before we conclude on that. She, in 1996 interview,
yes,
she was only separated after the queen saw that. She says, "Y'all both divorcing now."
yes,
They divorced. No longer does she have the umbrella safety
She doesn't have,
of that.
the protection.
Right,
and stuff.
right.
And she just did the most infamous interview of all time,
Right.
which means her paparazzi attention went up tenfold.
Correct.
That's her responsibility in her demise, but also now no one or nothing is protecting her,
Right.
from all this attention and this following and being hounded.
And still, I think regardless of her being divorced, I think the crown should still protect her, regardless of her not being
You would
married to
think.
the king, because you would think because she is the mother of the heir
The heirs
to
to the
that.
throne.
No, they don't
You know what I mean?
care.
So like, I know they don't care, but like you would think from a logic standpoint that's what would be the case.
Right.
No. Well, especially if
it's
they're gonna whack her anyway. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. So
which I wouldn't have put it past them, but
Yeah.
there you go.
So,
Crazy.
so
Crazy.
Gab, what do you give? We won't do the whole show. We'll just do the season. What do you like this particular season 4? What score do you give it?
10
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Nice.
Wait,
No.
9 out of 10. And also, the only reason why, and we didn't talk about her at all, but the performance of Margaret Thatcher was fantastic.
Uh-huh.
But
Gillian Anderson, right?
Yeah.
she was prime minister for 11 years, and she had a lot of negative attention for sure, and she was extremely loathed.
Right.
But I would like to know why. I wish they'd reflected a little bit more on why the British people were so for the Tories/Conservative Party allowing the Conservative Party to govern for that period of time, if things were so bad under them and
Right.
her as prime minister. That's my only thing.
Gotcha.
I thought it wasn't super clear as to why for such bad situations and for 11 years the Tories stayed in control for that long. So for that, I would actually dock it a point, because that's those historical things is like also what I like, but not just the family drama. I wanted that, so now I'm like having to, which is good. Now I have to research more. Like it's giving me something to research on. But I wish they had talked a little bit about what did work, what was working with the Tories for that long, and the Conservative Party holding power.
I'm gonna give it I'll give this season a 9 as well. but my dock point is because I hate Charles.
Wow. So
And
one
he's
character.
he's just a
ruined
prick. Yeah. Okay, so before we get into the Queen's Gambit, actually, let's get into Queen's Gambit.
Let's go right into it.
Let's go
get
right
right
into
into
it because Princess Diaries we can review very quickly.
Yeah,
At the end.
which is basically you two going to be complete dicks to it. So I'm
Yeah.
really
So
I'm ready
Queen-
with my
Not
story.
that much of a dick. But a
No,
little
no,
bit,
no.
quasi.
Queen's Gambit. I'll let you explain what you like about it, Fico. You can go first.
All right, yeah. This is a show that honestly, like, I was not gonna give the time of day to.
Same.
And then we started
Same.
talking about, like, well, you know what? If we're gonna do an episode on it, let me at least watch like an episode or two so I can get a feel for it.
Yep.
And I think we ended up talking about it when we were texting each other that there is nothing that is spectacular about
Yes.
this show.
Yep.
But for whatever reason, could not turn it off.
Yep.
This is the quickest, and it's only 7 episodes. This is the quickest that I've ever binged something. I ran through 5 episodes in one night.
Yeah.
Woke up and had withdrawal symptoms. Needed to put on the final 2.
Yeah.
This show is just so. I can't even explain how good it is. Like, I know nothing about chess. I know
Yeah.
Gab try to make us play chess with him every 5 minutes. Like he was like a
Correct,
young brother, and
correct.
it's like, the hell, get off my way.
Yep.
But now,
You son of a bitch.
but now it's like it was so interesting watching. This girl's got a story, man.
Yeah.
Like, you got her mom who might have.
Wait, hold time out, but pause. Before we continue, this is not a true story or this is a true story?
I don't think it's a true story.
It's
might-
not. This is just completely fake.
It's a book. I know it's a book.
Okay.
To be honest with you, normally I've looked on Google. Is this
Right.
based on something? I just assumed that it was loosely based on a person.
I that's what I thought.
But I mean, shoot, you want to pull it up? We'll find
Yeah,
out.
I'll look. You continue.
So you got what's her name? Elizabeth Harmon, right? She's
yeah.
her mom goes crazy, kills herself basically, and honestly probably try to kill her too in a car accident. She becomes an orphan, goes to an orphanage, and what does she do? She learns from a wise janitor how to play the game of chess. Also helped that her mom was an astute mathematician.
Also, on the janitor, that part of the show, when that part of the show started, I was like, okay, which way is this show going to turn here?
I thought it was going to turn sketchy.
I was like, and I think that's just because we at this point now are so
We just assume
we
the
just
worst
assume
in people.
the worst in people. So
Exactly.
because as soon as she started going down to that basement, I was like, okay, this motherfucker's gonna do some sketchy shit to her.
And,
this
not-
chick is 10 years old.
And not to shit on the janitor, but he looked like the straightest shooter. He looked like kind of a creepy.
I
old
actually
guy.
don't even think that he was a janitor. I think he was the overall
Just
maintenance
maintenance
worker.
guy.
Yeah.
So she learns how to play chess with this dude. She calls him a cocksucker. He locks her out of the basement.
She didn't even know what cocksucker meant.
She didn't even know. That's the best part about that. Like, she just calls him a cocksucker without knowing what the hell it is.
Yep.
And the whole time she's basically strung out on tranquilizers, right?
Yes.
She
Yes.
develops a pill
An
popping
yeah.
problem
At 11 years old, yeah.
like she's a kid.
Yep.
But it helps her hone in on how to play chess. Like she visualizes it on the ceiling, and that's how she gets to bed every night. And as it progresses, she gets adopted and all that stuff. She enters the tournaments. Like the confidence that this girl is oozing,
Yes.
just that shit had me going because I thought that was so cool how nothing deterred this girl. Like she knew she was good at something. She didn't care who she played, how many people she played at one time. She went after it. We're talking. If you want to talk about women and the women's empowerment movement, this is this should be
this is great.
the spokesperson for that movement because this girl was dialed in and she was lethal.
Yeah.
Like watching her just eat through these guys, just freaking
the episode where they have her go to the high school and she just walks in there and there's fucking 15 dudes with their own boards and the guy's like, you're gonna go in there, you're gonna play all of them at once.
Okay.
And I'm like, holy shit. And then she just plows through those motherfuckers.
Goes and she gives the recap when she goes back to the house.
Yeah.
And she's like, they said that this guy was the best they had. I beat him in 22 moves.
Yeah.
It's like, shit. So that her whole story and the way she carried herself, because when this thing's going on, she's how old when she enters that first tournament? She's 16 or something? 15?
Yeah, she's a teenager.
And then so this whole gap is just it's like 4 years, maybe 4 or 5 years
Right.
before she eventually becomes a world champion.
Yeah.
Another thing I really loved about this show is the fashion in it.
Yeah.
50s.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really, really cool fashion. I like how she would pick outfits out, and the outfit kind of played into whatever match she was playing. Like if it was a big deal, she was like kind of like
More dressed up,
and
yeah.
stuff, and like more confident and all that. I really hope that it wins an award for at least for that. I think it'll win more, but for the actual like costume and makeup and stuff, like they nailed that those time periods.
They really. Yep.
that and the soundtrack is great.
The soundtrack is good. Soundtrack is good.
Also, I want to touch on Thomas Brody in this.
Thomas Brody.
Benny Watts, like the freaking like
Cowboy guy?
The
Oh, the
cowboy.
cowboy guy. Yes.
dude. When he first was on the screen, when she goes to like a thing in
Yeah.
like Kentucky or Cincinnati, whatever the hell it was, I was like, who the fuck is this? What? And then he ends up being like this freaking like
Yeah.
showboating chess grandmaster. Wearing like leather dusters and shit and like conch shell necklaces. I'm like, this might be the best character in the program.
Yeah. I at first when I first saw him, I was like, I mean, this is just. I actually thought he was going to be like an Australian Dundee guy.
He had a
like
knife on him the whole time.
Crocodile Dundee type dude. But you know, he's.
You know he was from Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He was
The Reed kid.
the Reed kid. Yeah.
It just this chick. I mean, I think they touch on it in one of the early episodes. One of her orphan roommates was like, "You're smart as hell."
Yep.
And I don't know what the price is going to be for you for
Right.
you giving these gifts, but it's going to be something.
Right.
And she, like you said, like she has a pill problem at age 10 or 11.
Yeah. She
And
has
then-
a substance abuse problem, like basically her
Exactly,
whole
her
adult
whole life, and then she turns to alcohol once
Yeah.
that, and then she goes just off the rails.
Yep.
But that's again, she needed these things to
Right.
be effective, I guess, until the end.
I think that's it. What the show really portrays well is a thing that we commonly see with geniuses.
yeah,
It's and this happens a lot with a lot of artists that have died early at mid to late 20s,
27
27s.
club.
Yeah.
It's these artists that their minds don't think or aren't on that same kind of
Wavelength.
and
Yeah.
intellectual type of thing even from a creative standpoint too, as us regular people.
yeah,
So because of these, their brains are kind of, I don't know where they are. The substance abuse helps some,
kind of grounds them a
kind
little
of
bit.
grounds them a little bit. It helps them, some of them, to do the thing that they're trying to do. But I feel like that's a really common thing that has happened historically, and this show kind of just really shows you an in-depth look into how that can start and how that continues,
Yeah.
and how these people cope with that problem to continue to create and do the things that they need to do. And be good and great at that thing,
Absolutely.
regardless of the problem of the substance
Yeah,
abuse.
Yeah.
and like it's like a lot of people obviously don't make it out of that. Unfortunately, this character is lucky enough that no matter who she encountered in her life, whether it was the guy that she beat at that first tournament that ended up coming back into her life, or Benny Watts, or the chick at the orphanage, she had people that genuinely cared about her.
I mean,
Because
even
they knew her brilliance. They knew how good she was, and that God forbid anything would happen, it would be such a waste of talent.
Yep.
That they
Yep.
they were there for her.
I think another important relationship, and I think probably one of the more important relationships that she had in the show, was the one with her the new mother.
Yeah.
The mother-
oh man, that
yeah,
was
the stepmother.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that essentially, that woman, even though she was a drunk, a clear drunk, basically hated her own life. She saw what she had, what that girl had. She went with her to do all the stuff. She encouraged her to do the all these things, and of course, eventually, she's like, "Well, like, can I be your manager? Let me get some cash."
Yeah, exactly.
And like at that point, even that scene, I'm just thinking like, oh, like
I thought it was
react okay, and then She does, and she says like, "Yeah, I'll give you
Again,
more." or
that's
whatever.
another part. Again, this is how we're talking about like the janitor thing. That's another part. Where I'm like, oh man, is this bitch just gonna try to
Yes.
like run this girl dry?
Exactly.
Like,
Is she gonna run her dry? Is she gonna steal from her? Is she gonna
just gonna use her for her own benefit?
Right.
And again,
Lo and
luckily,
behold,
that
yeah,
wasn't, that
she's-
wasn't the case. And
yeah.
how she passes away in Mexico City and stuff. That,
Right.
Oh man,
that was a tough.
that was
That
a
was a
moment.
tough- yeah.
yeah.
Because I was anything like that already like kind of gets to me.
Yep.
So like I started getting upset, and then she calls the father, or the girl's husband, her stepfather, who wanted nothing to do with her
Yeah,
really,
the scumbag.
and he just doesn't care.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh fuck, this girl's like, I thought she was gonna die right there.
Right.
I thought she was gonna go home, take a bunch of pills,
Yep,
drink a bottle
yep.
of wine, and that roll credits.
Right.
But she's not. What I liked about her character too is that she was very like no nonsense.
Yes.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
And
she
she
no
was,
bullshit.
And she just, despite her substance abuse, she was just sure.
Yeah.
She was just sure of what something meant.
Yep.
What she was looking at. She wasn't looking, as in Spanish like to say, looking for the cat's fifth leg.
Yeah.
She wasn't.
Yep.
She just like, this is what I see is what I'm getting.
Right.
And like even when
She was
when
just really cut and dry.
yeah.
Like,
remember when even that piece of shit guy comes back because he wants the house.
yeah.
the
the
step-
dad, the crappy dad.
I
Yeah.
lo-
she's
that
like,
scene was sick. I'll buy it from you.
And then
Yeah.
I'll just buy
Sick.
it. And then she says something like a coward's like, no, I'm looking at a coward.
Yeah, exactly. It's yeah. He says something, and she's like, "No, I'm looking at one." And
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And it's true. And it's true. She lives in this like very true space.
Right.
that's what he made a comment about her stepmother being a coward and always like being drunk to get through life. And she's like, "No, she wasn't the coward." Gave a list of examples. Like, I'm looking at the coward.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yes.
"Ooh,
Yes.
burn that motherfucker."
Because she was, and it's I like the 1950 settings also because this is the time of the golden age of America, right? This is the economic boom post World War II, the suburban explosion, the housewife
Yep. Yep.
thing. It's the publication decade of the feminine mystique. It's in a lot of ways the 50s is really shrouded in a lot of social lies. So it's interesting to see that angle of her being brought into this house, and here's this housewife very much kind of living the feminine mystique. She's miserable. Like this isn't
Yeah, she
this
hates
isn't
it,
fulfilling. This person doesn't love me. I'm here playing the piano, drinking a scotch like all the time. I feel unfulfilled.
Right.
There is no real means for me to find that success and fulfillment, and that makes Elizabeth all the more of a phenomenon because she's earning money and making money through this talent that she has through these contests, which isn't part of business or work or
No, it's
the
just
normal social
yeah.
structure. It's this.
It's competition, and,
It's
and
competition.
that is more than solely run by men.
By
Yeah.
men, and there she is holding her own in it because it doesn't need a degree, or it's just like she has this talent,
She
she's
has the
able to
talent to
use
do
it.
it.
So when you speak about that scene where I felt the same anxiety too, where she's like, "I can be your manager, can I like make money?" and how she agrees to it, and there is none of that abuse.
Right.
I love that moment in particular because it's in this time where women weren't allowed to really do anything.
Right.
Here you have these two women teaming up and supporting each other and being teammates and finding what joys they could and life experiences
Right.
together. And I thought and I like that it was an anti-narrative to the myth of competition. And even though yes, it's about a competition,
Yeah, of
about a
course.
game, but like in terms of in our society that it's my money, not your money, or pitting women against each other.
Right.
It was just open.
The show was
trust.
never about the money.
Money, no.
Nah.
The money for her was a perk, if anything.
Yeah, it was a
allowed
perk
to
that led her to do
she
things
wanted
right.
She didn't
And
care about money.
She
she
never
really
gave a shit
didn't.
about it. She never gave a shit about it. She wanted to be. She wanted to play chess.
Yeah, it was obvious
be
when
the best, of course.
the Christian Connection or whatever came over and it's like, well, we
Yeah,
already bought your ticket and done this. We just need you
Right.
to say this. And she's like, I'll just give you all the money back.
Yeah, because
Yeah, she didn't care.
She didn't care about that stuff. Yeah,
Or
she-
even-
It was never about
The sexuality thing when she calls her like, "Where are you?" She's like, "I'm sleeping at a guy's house," which obviously implies you're
And
getting
the thing is,
boned.
like, she was doing college courses to learn Russian, And I don't know how old she was at that point. I think she was like 16 or 17. She was young still. And the mom's like, nah, we'll just make good choices.
Right.
Which is great. It's again.
Yeah.
And someone would say like,
She knew what the hell was going on.
I think that's a great scene too, because you would think like, oh, she's not being protected, like and if it's a work of fiction, I still think that's a great scene because it's treating her in that kind of male equity. If a guy's sleeping, or it's like, all right, make good choices,
Right.
And you're trusting her to know what's best for her and her body and what she wants to do.
And it also shows too that the mom knew the kind of person that girl
she
is.
She was, yeah.
And she like there was no need for her to fight her on that because she knew this girl. Okay, this girl's cut and dry. Like she's not gonna fuck around with some bullshit.
This girl's been through some shit.
Yeah,
She
like,
knows
she knows what she's doing. She knows what.
She's
Yeah,
not naive by
Right,
any means.
right.
No,
So
yeah.
she can
She's
handle,
smart
she can
enough to
handle
handle
herself.
this on her
she
own,
can handle
right.
her damn self.
And I also hope that this limited series has encouraged you both to play some chess.
Tell you what, it has in the form of I have a mini chessboard at my house, and the other night I looked to see how to correctly put the pieces on the board, and baby steps. But I want to talk about this Netflix effect that this show has had.
Yep.
It debuted on October 23rd, and to date, it's gotten 62 million views.
Yeah.
Which is
It's insane. It's
crazy.
the most of any Netflix miniseries.
inquiries for chess sets on eBay
Yeah.
are up 250%.
Of course.
Yep.
The Google search for how to play chess is at an all-time high.
Yep.
Preach. Sing it.
The novel is now a New York Times bestseller 37 years after its publication.
Of course.
And the number of players on chess.com has gone up 5-fold. So
crazy.
it's 5 times as popular as it was.
Right.
All because of a show.
Yeah.
And a
I mean,
show
and-
that, like I said, admittedly, I did not think I was going to give it the time of day. I didn't think I was going to fall this whole, like, all right, let's see what the hype's about.
Right.
And I'm really glad I did.
Yeah, that's the beauty. The beauty to me of the show it's that it really like you're really not expecting to just fall so deeply into this thing.
Right.
Like you're watching this, and you're like, it's fine, some chick that like plays, chess, whatever.
Well, who's the actress's name? Was it Anya Joy Taylor?
Yes,
Yes.
the Argentinian Anya. I think it's Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, something like
She's
that.
absolutely phenomenal. I hope.
Speaks full Spanish.
Yeah.
Yes, fluent in Spanish.
Has she done anything prior to this? Anything?
Yes.
Yeah, she did,
A lot of stuff. She's in New Mutants.
I have not
she's
seen
new
her anywhere,
that
and
movie's-
now it's like I want more of her. I want to
You
see.
haven't.
Oh, she's
you
in-
haven't seen the M Night Shyamalan movie,
Which one's that?
the one with the guy with the multiple personalities.
No, is that the one that just came out with what's his face?
Oh, she's in that.
Ramon, she's
In
the girl.
Splice?
She's the girl.
Spice?
She's the
Spice,
girl.
whatever?
Really? I'm gonna.
Wow, I did not know that.
She's the girl that gets kidnapped.
I'm going to give that a chance now.
She is also in Peaky Blinders, which is a
cheeky.
very, very.
She's a star in the making.
Her
She's
character in Peaky Blinders, she's not doesn't come into a later season, but she's a notable character because she starts to influence one of the guys, and it's like a big thing. But
thing.
yeah, she's good. She's
I-
good.
I-
And this show is going to put her even higher.
I was gonna say
up.
like I need to see her in more things, and I really hope the
she's
best
blowing
one.
up. She's
Yeah,
gonna
sure.
blow up.
Overall, very, very, very good show, start to finish.
Yeah, 7 episodes. Not a
It's
lot
7
to
episodes,
go
so
through.
there isn't even enough time to really say there's an episode that's like slower than another.
I think they all did the job. They're all. It's weird because you think of chess as this slow-moving
Yeah,
game or
yep,
whatever,
yep.
or maybe not the most exciting thing. Those tournament scenes and
Yeah.
stuff are kind of like
especially
nerve-wracking.
against like the Russians.
Exactly, like not knowing what's going to
Yeah.
happen and stuff. Like that shit was great.
Yeah, no, it's fucking awesome. What scores do you give it?
9. It's a 9 out of 10 for me. Very positive.
I'm gonna give it an 8.
Give it an 8.
I'm gonna go. I'll go 9 as well.
Very,
It's a
very,
very good
fun little series.
Yeah, it's a really good show.
And no need for they don't need to make a second season.
That's what I'm saying. That's,
They
and
don't
that's
need that.
another beauty of it. Is
that
that it
told its
ends
tale.
and it ends.
Yeah.
That's it.
She's the unanimous number 1 champ. She beat the,
Yeah.
the world's best.
We don't need to see more. I don't need to see any more.
Exactly.
Than that.
You done etched yourself into
Right.
chess lore.
Right.
You're a legend.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautifully done.
Yeah.
Okay, so Fucking Princess Diaries.
Listen, man, I have a laundry list of shit.
Oh my
that
god!
I
I'm
can
just
get
gonna
to
sit
with
back
this
and let
fucking
this happen. Go ahead. Take your.
No, you know what, Gab?
Take out your guns.
want
Take out
you
your
to
guns.
lead us into this movie.
Just tell us
You give
what
us
the
the
positives
synopsis.
that you think that this movie has.
Oh my god! Well, first of all, this
Tell
book.
us about the movie real quick. Just give us a quick little recap.
All right,
Spark notes.
the quick synopsis: The Princess Diaries is about a girl who lives in San Francisco with her mom. She's a quote unquote nerd loser, I guess.
There's no I guess to that.
Just because I guess she's a loser because she's clumsy. I don't know.
No,
She's invisible.
It's the typical loser trope of these movies, especially
Curly hair
in
and wears
this period of
glasses.
time. It's
Exactly.
big hair, glasses,
nerdy,
and stumbles when
And
she
stumbles.
walks.
Right,
So that
right.
obviously means
That's it.
you don't deserve to live.
Yes,
Like,
correct.
and that's how she gets treated. Lives in San Francisco.
The very obvious person, the guy, she's sitting there, and the guy
Just
sits on,
like, oh, I didn't
I
see
didn't
you
see
there.
you there. Sorry,
She's basically
she's invisible. To
But she
everyone.
says that she does say in the movie that she's worked hard to have that happen.
right.
For her to
she
be a nobody.
wants to be invisible.
Yeah,
right?
she doesn't want to be seen. Or yeah. And so then her grandmother comes to visit her to say, guess what, bitch? You a princess.
Wow.
And then it's basically her being revealed that she has to become a princess of this foreign country that doesn't exist.
Oh, it does.
Because her father that passed away
Genovia
was
isn't real.
I swear to God, it's on a map.
Genovia is not
Bro,
real.
I'm telling you, dude. Like, if
I don't know
Google
that
lied
it's
to
real,
me,
my
I saw
guy.
it. I saw it on the
Genovia
map,
is
bro.
not a real country.
Pull it up, Ron. Pull it up on the Google.
Is it Genovia or Javovia?
Genovia. Genovia is not real.
GENOVIA.
Oh my God. Are we really Googling is Genovia real?
Let's see.
This is stupid. Sadly, Genovia tells us that the name of a real country.
Click on people. Also ask if Genovia is based on a real country because I didn't click on that part. I just saw a map. Go up.
It's not real, guys.
I just saw no. It's right, yeah, that thing. No, up. Yep. Click there. Oh.
Yeah, it's not.
Oh.
Even though it sounds a lot like Genoa, Italy.
Well, I figured like maybe there's some Italians that live there because that's what I thought. But like I saw on a map, there's a little like
Nah,
dot.
there's some small
Genovia.
countries that have a G. Maybe Guyana.
I don't know, man. I thought it was real. I guess I didn't look hard enough.
Jesus Christ.
So she
God, it
becomes
looks
she
stupid.
becomes a princess of this country.
Yeah, she becomes the princess of this country. And then she basically has to take really fun princess lessons in San Francisco from her grandma.
Queen.
The queen,
Yes.
the amazing, legendary Julie Andrews. I can't believe you guys don't know what the fucking sound of music is.
Queen of Javova.
Genovia.
Genovia. Javova.
I think Javova is the brand that sponsors Venezuela's soccer jerseys.
Oh God, that's so sad.
Yeah.
Where she goes from Mia to Princess Amelia,
okay.
Mignonette, Thermopolis, Rinaldi, Princess
Jesus
of
Christ.
Genovia.
Right.
Right.
A lot of fun angst. You know, they get the.
And then Mandy Moore's in, and she's a total bitch.
I hated that little clique of characters that they always had to be singing. Every time they came, singing, dancing.
That's to me. Look,
I
listen,
hate that.
The
Hate it.
number one problem
Yeah, man.
with this goddamn movie
This is why you don't cast famous people.
is this bullshit about, for some reason in the 2000s and maybe 90s, it's like high school kids just love to sing.
I think
the
it,
problem?
High school kids like to run around in a clique of three.
and they all were named similarly.
It's like
similarly?
it's
Guys,
always the same.
Give me
in all
three
of these movies.
give me 3 examples of what you're talking about. Go ahead. Give me 3 examples of
I
what you're
just feel like
criticizing.
it's always like that.
we
You know, if it's always like that,
I just
by
feel
all means-
like
that
it's
movie that we
always
just
like
watched
that.
with the one that was amazing about the I Know Who Killed Me. Got kids running around singing all.
Where? When did I see anyone and I know good?
Mean
And
Girls.
why
Mean
are
Girls.
you bringing up that movie again?
Because it's phenomenal. It was 8 out of 10.
Mean Girls.
When they go on stage, okay, there's one. All right.
Okay.
I know there's other movies.
There's definitely other movies.
There's
definitely
other movies that do this because it's
Yeah.
not. This was the first time I watched this movie. They looked very similar to me. I think what
Yeah.
the point is when you cast a famous person or a famous musical artist, you
have to
give them,
showcase their
You
talent.
have to give them screen time somehow.
Yeah.
What does Mandy Moore do? Oh, she's a freaking singer. Have her sing and dance in every scene that she's in. Why? You just can't just be
It's
a
so
bitch on her own.
stupid.
I don't
It's so
understand.
dumb.
Is Mandy Moore's performance your biggest complaint about this movie?
No,
Oh,
there
no,
are
my
plenty
friend.
of
I got a
complaints
whole
about this
laundry
movie.
list of shit. Let's talk about real quick. The Queen is pretty young. She's not older than 55.
She's also clearly not sick.
She's
at
not
least.
sick. There's nothing. I And so they're like, listen, 15-year-old girl, if you don't take over the throne of Genovia, we'll cease to exist. Why the fuck is that possible? There's no
Why
one
does she
else.
need to announce it now at 15 when she's a child?
Like, give
Like,
her some time to wait.
This queen is old enough to last another
I'm saying.
30
Okay,
They're not in
well,
di-
first of all,
they're not in dire
I love-
straits.
no, I
Gabriel,
love this.
Gabriel, they're not in dire straits.
not.
And they don't need to, like...
This isn't an
No, this
emergency
is
scenario.
so
the
great.
sake of this country did not rest in
I should have
Anne
been a lawyer.
Hathaway's hands.
I should have been a lawyer.
It's
Okay, let's do
it's
it.
just completely.
Hold on,
It's
wait.
just-
hold on. Can both of you stand along
Shut
that
up.
wall so I can shoot at both of you in this massacre that's about to happen? So first of all, she is the daughter of the Prince of Genovia
Yes.
and this Muggle mother.
Let's knock that down real quick. The prince came over to America to basically soil his royal oats, knocked up
Right.
her mom. They decided, hey, listen, we're both young. This is clearly a mistake. I'm going to have the kid. You go back to your country, and we'll figure it out when we
Didn't
have
the
to figure it
dad
out.
not even want to be?
No, the dad made sure that he would take care of the kid. They send him money, put her through
Right.
good school. And then when the time came, they would let her know. But unfortunately, the father passed away before they could. And one of the things was,
But again, though, it's still not necessary to do it so early.
well, it's also not necessary to tell her that if you don't take this job, our country's going to go away forever. That's not going to happen.
Right.
Come on. Queen, you got a couple years behind.
Look,
Gabe, go ahead. Go ahead.
so she's 15. You want why go tell her at that point? Well, clearly the mother and the father want her to have as much of a normal childhood as humanly possible. That's also very
Sure.
representative in real life of what Diana wanted to with her two boys.
Yeah, which is fair.
Have them be as normal as possible because you want to be connected with
That's
the
the most
people. You want to
admirable
be
thing about this movie.
as normal as you possibly
Right.
can. So that's why she lived the normal life, and they didn't tell her. Then when they go to tell her, why do you have to bring her in at this age? Well, you're 15, you're old enough, and if you're going to be, and if you're the heir, you need to know, you have to start learning how to reign and be a princess.
Which I get. That part understood. We start teaching her, but don't feed her lies. That's all I'm complaining
But at
about.
the same time, is it what is it a lie? If she is the rightful heir to the throne,
I just
if
don't
she
think
doesn't
it's.
take it,
She's not. She's not old enough at that point. At this point,
To make-
the decision to say
you're a different.
I'm going to rule or I'm not.
right. It's you're a
Will the
different person
country die or no?
when you're a 15-year-old, antisocial person that has some social anxiety going on. You're not going to want to be the queen of anything, let
correct.
alone the princess.
we
let
were
alone-
just talking about the glory that is the crown, and like
Some people are built different in Genovia.
yeah, but
Some
at the
people are
same
built
time,
different.
but it's like when it's like, oh, the country will die. Like, no, the land won't die, but what you're risking is the integrity of the monarchy.
Listen.
because if she's the rightful heir, A, she has a right to know. B,
fair.
she has.
I mean, it's fine that she knows. Fine, I'll give you fine.
I love
that
how we're
it's
like really
okay that she
politicizing
knows.
the Princess Diaries.
Yeah,
It's
this
fine.
It's fine that she can know.
Right.
And like, you know what? They,
Training her too at 15. All right,
good
I'll
idea.
cave on that
Great.
too.
Everyone's gonna learn
All
how
right,
to
I've
dance
already
and
won
walk.
some. Let's keep going.
Okay. The thing, you're a different person when you're 15 to when you're
Yes.
17. That grandmother is not dying anytime soon.
Yeah.
God forbid, But
It should be at least
but like, listen,
20, 21.
you might have to step.
20 for what?
You might have to
to
step
make the
in-
decision of will I rule or not.
Yeah, listen. I would let them know this is the information that we're going to give you, kid. We're going to teach you how to be a princess.
Yes.
And eventually you're going to probably have to step into this role. So if you're cool with it, that's great. But if you're not, just let you know, a lot of pressure on your shoulders. The country's probably going to cease to exist. We're fine. It's going away.
Our family lineage will die off here with you.
So if
Yeah,
you
but
want
at
to do
the
that, that's
same
cool.
time, if that pressure does exist, if that responsibility by her bloodline and lineage is hers, then like stretch your shoulders. Like that's just the truth of the situation. And in a lot of ways, and I think that's where the metaphor for little girls and little boys watching the movie comes in. There's a lot of time. It's a lesson. There's a lot of things in life that we feel like we're not equipped to do, not ready to do, don't want to do. But there comes a point where it's fight or flight. You have to step to the plate and kind of do the thing that you're being called to, because it's for you. It's your moment. It's the same thing.
know, Gab.
Actually, you know what? Let's connect this a little bit to
This is your moment.
like the kind of like that Eminem song, like remember like you better lose yourself in the music,
Sure.
like because it's you only
Listen.
get one shot. Do not miss your chance. Like
She was going to
that's-
have plenty of
so
shots to be the
Even
Princess of
more
Genovia.
reason to push the decision making a few years.
No, if you're gonna-
after
if
she
you're-
started training.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest. If it was me and you tell me, "Hey, listen, you're gonna be a princess," Jesus, you're gonna be a prince of a country. I'm running with that shit in spades. I'm gonna, hit me up
Sure.
with my Gucci loafers. Tell me how to walk, how to wave
yeah,
to people.
Yeah, yeah.
look.
And maybe I'll do it. But for right now, give me
Right.
the glitz and the glamour that come with it, and we'll figure it out when you
Right.
die. The Queen of England's 114 years old now. Yeah, grandma had at least 10, 20, maybe 30, 40
yeah.
years left in her. Yeah, let the kid have a life.
Yeah.
Well, that's always kind of first it's a fucking kids movie, and Jesus Christ, and like the other thing is like, if you're going to accept the perks and the greatest of the princess life, but then don't want the burdensome part of it, which is actually true of like actual royals. They want to be prince and princesses.
Why
and
even
yet,
send her to school at that point anyway?
Yeah, exactly. Pull her out.
Like, why even continue to let her, once she knows, why even continue to let her go to high school?
because
because
you know
she
that's a-
wants to finish that experience, and she makes a point of that. Like,
It's gonna be a tainted experience because now everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, that's the princess. Let me suck
well,
up
it was
to her. Oh, let me
supposed
play
to
her.
be.
Let me
Did you watch
kidnap
the
her."
movie? It was supposed to be secret, and then it got ousted.
Yeah, like everything
Yeah,
else,
but
no one can keep a secret.
It's not realistic to think that it would continue to be secret.
Nothing
for the
about
next
this
2
movie
years.
is realistic.
I'm just gonna say this: if she was more concerned with being a princess than if she would have put in half the effort
Yep.
to being a princess than she did in wanting a proper foot pop on her first kiss, could have been a totally different experience.
And that's a whole other fucking issue that I
Guys,
hate.
it's
the
guys,
goddamn
guys.
foot pop.
Ramel, I
People
need,
that do-
I need you to get the sound bit of from Dumb and Dumber of the guy yelling, "Guys, guys!"
I'm just saying, man. Like, there's a lot of things about this movie that I could. Someone used the term "wicked sweet" at one point. I almost turned the movie off. It was just
It's just like
absolutely
it's
bugged.
just typical, really bad 2000, early
No.
2000s.
One thing, I gotta ask one question. Did they use makeup to make her not look good, or did the makeup just make her look like really good? Because when they did that reveal, man,
I was gonna ask about the eyebrows.
I mean, she clearly grew them out, and then they got chiseled down. I guess she had the, what's his face from Schitt's Creek? Paul Levine or whatever?
Dan Levy.
Dan Levy. She had that shit going on, and
Yeah.
it was, But then when when the guy comes in and does the remake, it's like, oh, girl.
Who's another one of those guys that like
Famous
is in
faces
random
that's in a lot.
movies.
Random
So,
movies
yeah.
is great.
He's also in 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yes.
He's the
Yup,
dad.
I think he's in Max Keeble's Big Move.
yeah, he's
in a
on
bunch
a
of
lot
shit.
of early 2000s.
Yeah,
and
he's in
not-
early
He found his
2000s,
niche. But I'm just saying, like, did they use makeup to make her not look good, or did they make?
I don't know.
I mean, Anne Hathaway, listen, beautiful young woman.
Look, man,
Millburn, New Jersey. What up?
take off the glasses and straighten the hair.
It's like not another teen movie. It's like,
Come on,
all he had to
yeah.
do was take off the
Yeah.
overalls and the glasses. Look at
It's
that.
like, all right, that's like a makeover. Like,
Listen,
come
man.
on, man.
What do you give the movie?
You guys are real pieces of shit. You guys are real pieces of shit.
Just be honest with it.
3?
Okay, 3.
3.
Gab,
No, Pico, you go.
you know where I was going with this, did you? The big reveal. It was 7. Family fun. It's a real cute
The
movie.
Princess Diaries will
baby.
receive a 9 out of 10.
It's a very it's been so obvious on this pod that the scores sometimes are skewed.
Oh, they're so skewed.
Just based off of the reaction of the other guys on the pod.
100%.
This is a
This movie
9.
is not a fucking 9.
I thought, well,
No,
I thought me
the-
giving it a 7 was gonna like what are you talking?
The theme song to this movie, amazing. The acting, superb. The quips,
Yeah,
fantastic.
the theme song was a one-hit wonder.
And what a wonder it was.
I actually don't remember the damn song, so I guess,
Miracles happen. You
No.
remember that song? You're a bitch.
no.
Oh no, I thought that was
I thought it was the Mandy Moore song. I just assumed that was gonna be a
that's
Mandy
what
Moore
I
song.
thought it was Mandy Moore. Yeah.
Missing you like candy. Yeah.
Why would that be the theme song to the
Why
Princess
was Mandy Moore
Diaries?
in the movie? For God's sake.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
I give it a 7. It's beautiful.
7,
A lot of fun.
9, 3. Okay,
I really thought Genovia was a real country.
How about you lose some points for that one?
I'm personally deduct myself on it.
I'll wrap it up.
All right, boys. Well, that's our show for today.
I guess.
Stay tuned next week for Gab's written apology.
There'll be no apology. There'll be no
Stuttering
apology.
folk.
Throw a little burp into that apology too, and
absolutely.
it'll really continue.
We're going
it
to keep
going.
that streak going,
Fuck
too.
you both.
Make him drink a couple gallons of ginger ale.
Yeah, exactly.
Real gassy.
Peace, boys.